So Lotto has came out and confirmed that she's pregnant. There has been a lot of conversation surrounding her pregnancy, her announcement, and many other things involving her life. But I would like to shift the perspective and let's talk about something different.
I ain't go missing. I see you got a kid on the way. This personal.
Welcome back, where we take real moments and real conversations and tell the truth about what they actually mean. All right, so let's talk about this lotto conversation, but not from a judgment standpoint, from an awareness standpoint. Because what this really brings up for me is consequences versus choices. And this is something that we don't talk about enough. At a young age, a lot of us have goals, right? We have visions, we have an ideal of what we want our life to look like. But what we don't always think about is how the choices we make along the way quietly shapes what we actually experience. And not overnight, but over time, through patterns, through repeated decisions, through what we allow, what we ignore, and what we continue to choose. And every choice comes with a consequence. Now, let's be clear, consequences are not always bad. There are good consequences, and then there are hard consequences. But both come from what we choose. It all depends on what you put in and what comes back from it. So, when we talk about things like pregnancy, having children, yes, that can be a blessing. But depending on the situation, it can also come with realities that people don't always talk about. And we have to be honest with that. Not judgmental, but honest. Because in our community, we already see certain patterns. We see high rates of children being born outside of committed relationships. We see men stretched across multiple households, women left to carry the weight, children being impacted the most. And these are just opinions. These are patterns playing out in real life. And patterns don't come from one moment, they come from repeated choices. Repeated choices. So, again, this is not about telling someone what they should or shouldn't do, but it's about being aware of what comes with certain choices. Because when there is no full commitment, sooner or later, something is going to show up. And that includes marriage too. And it doesn't just affect the adults. That's the problem. It's not just the two adult parties involved. It affects the children. It affects the stability of the family. It affects the future. And that's the part we can't ignore and we can't continue to ignore. So the real question becomes, are the choices I'm making right now leading me to the consequences I actually want? Or am I moving in the moment and creating a life I didn't intentionally choose? Think about it. Because sometimes we don't realize what we've built until we're living in it. Whew, and that could be, baby. And by then, it's no longer just a decision, it's a responsibility. And that's why awareness matters now, not later. Because, yes, blessings, babies are a blessing, but also let's be very for real. Every blessing still comes with responsibility, weight, and reality. And everybody is not prepared for that. So, this is not about her specifically. This is about all of us being intentional, being aware, and understanding that the life we say we want is built by the choices we make right now. And if you're at a place where you're starting to reflect, start to question your choices, start to see your patterns, and you're trying to understand how you got here, that's where the real work begins. That is that awareness flash. That's where you have to slow down and actually sit with yourself. And that's why I always talk about journaling. Because sometimes you don't need more opinions. You need to hear yourself clearly. You need to see the pattern in front of you. You need space to be honest without distraction. If you feel like you've lost yourself in your decisions, or you're trying to make sense of what life is starting to look like, my journal, She Left to Save Herself, was created for that. To help you process your emotions, recognize your patterns, and reconnect with yourself through intentional reflection. Because awareness is the first step, but honesty with yourself is what actually create change. And at some point, you have to decide, are the choices I'm making right now aligned with the life I say I want? Or am I choosing things I'm going to have to learn to live with later? Because that answer will shape everything if this resonated. Sit with it.